Starting off this countdown, we have the Lesser Key of Solomon. The Lesser Key of Solomon is a cursed grimoire that is said to contain summoning spells for over 72 demons. That's right, this book can help you summon 72 demons. And no one knows who wrote it. What we do know is that this book contains a bunch of compiled texts from the 17th century. Some of these texts tell the reader how to conjure spirits or demons, and then it tells you how to control these entities that you summon. No matter how cool you may think that is, you don't ever want to own this book. This book is apparently so cursed that anyone who keeps a copy of it will die or experience constant bad luck. One person who owned a copy of this book reported the book's pages turning on its own. Another time, the book violently flew across the room at them. They also heard strange whispers coming from the book, and on a number of occasions have seen shadow people. The only way to end this curse is to burn all the pages in the book and then get rid of all the ashes. Seems like a lot of work, so maybe just don't go out seeking copies of it. Although we don't know who wrote the book, legend has it that King Solomon originally wrote it for his son. He then asked him to bury it with him in his grave. But apparently when he was getting prepared for burial, a group of Babylonian philosophers found the book, and one of them got a vision from an angel. The angel told him to hide the book from the unworthy. So he decided to cast a spell on it to keep it from getting into the wrong hands. And that's how the book got its curse. But for some reason, copies of the book can be found on the internet. So if you want to tempt your fate, check it out. But seriously, actually maybe don't. Like, all we need this year are demons taking over the world because some Dumbo tried to summon them. In our fourth spot today, we have the Great Omar. This book has quite the dark past. So in 1909, a man named Sanzgorski decided to create a much fancier version of the book, The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Anyways, he bejeweled it and made the cover look beautiful. It took him 2,500 hours to create. In the end, it had 1,500 precious stones / semi-precious stones, 4,900 leather inlays, and 600 sheets of 22-karat gold leaf. It's honestly a very beautiful book. But the thing is, no one wanted to buy this super expensive book when they could literally get the same book without all that for much cheaper. So all that time and effort was for nothing. No one wanted to buy it. Now, eventually it was put up for auction, but only sold for £450. Ugh. Now, the book was shipped, but it never got to its buyer. Why? Well, the ship it was being transported on was the Titanic, and the book went down with the ship. But wait, get this. Only a few weeks later, the creator of this book mysteriously drowns. Ain't that a freaky coincidence? But that's not all. A second version of this book was created and they called it the Great Omar 2. It was then placed in a bank vault. But the bank was hit by a bomb during the London Blitz of World War II, and this copy was destroyed as well. Then a third copy was created and donated to the British Library, where apparently it is still to this day. But due to its dark past, many believe that this book is cursed and that bad things will happen to whoever owns it. I'd say, like, dang, that was bad luck from the get-go. Like, as soon as he created it, it was just bad luck everywhere. In our third spot today, we have the Voynich manuscript. This manuscript was discovered in an old chest in Rome in 1912, and is believed to have been written sometime in the early 15th century. Now, there is a lot of mystery surrounding this book. For starters, we really don't know who wrote it. Apparently, it was purchased by the Roman Emperor Rudolph II, who believed it had been written by Roger Bacon. But Bacon lived in the 12th century, and the paper carbon dated to the 15th. So like, that doesn't add up. What the heck is going on? Now, the first known owner of the book was an alchemist named George Barish. One day he found the book in his library and he was like, okay, how the heck did it get there? I don't know this book. After him, the book was owned by a number of emperors and officials. Again, no one has ever been able to decipher this 240-page book. Even the best cryptographers and linguists in the world haven't been able to decipher it. Not only that, but the book contains images of plants that have been long extinct. and it also has images of intricate astrological signs. As a result, this book has been deemed the world's most mysterious book, and the Everest of historical code breaking. Now, there are a number of theories associated with this book. One is that it was created by aliens, hence why we don't understand the language. It's some alien language. The second theory is that it was created by a demon or the devil himself. In fact, people think that by deciphering this book, it will unleash a curse and kill whoever reads it. This is also why the book has become one of the most feared books of all time. In fact, a number of people who have tried to translate this book have gone on to have years and years of bad luck. Coming in at number 2, we have the Necronomicon. I know what you're thinking. Lindsay, this is a fictional book. Why is this on this list? Well, a number of people believe this book to be real. Obviously, this is a horror channel, so you probably all know about this book, but here's a little refresher. The Necronomicon, also called the Book of the Dead, is a fictional book created by H.P. Lovecraft. It's featured in the Evil Dead movies, and reading it can release literal hell. So it is an ancient grimoire bound in human skin with its images and text inked in human blood. Yum. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Lovecraft insisted it was a made-up book, but true fans of the occult think otherwise. The book, in fact, exists, but is hidden so that it will never cause any harm. Now, Lovecraft says the idea of the book came to him in a dream, so many think that the spirits of this book chose Lovecraft to reveal it, meaning the book is really out there somewhere. Now, real-life publishers decided to produce physical copies of this book, but obviously those books don't harness real evil powers. But who knows? Maybe one day we will unearth the real Necronomicon. Let's hope not. Seriously, let's keep this as a fictional book. I've seen Evil Dead. I'm not about it, okay? And in our number 1 spot today, we have the Untitled grimoires. Back in 2013, 2 mysterious books appeared online by a bookseller. The books were quite weird. They were handwritten in red ink with weird symbols all throughout it. Turns out that these books were real-life witch spell books. But here's the thing, once a witch dies, their spell books are supposed to be burned. These 2 books were not burned after the witch's death, meaning that they are now highly cursed. In fact, the seller warned how cursed they were. Like, who would willingly buy a cursed book? Not me. Anyways, the book itself comes with a warning written on its first page. It says, and I quote, "To those not of this craft, the reading of this book is forbidden. Proceed no further, or justice will exact a swift and terrible retribution, and you surely will suffer at the hand of the craft." So if you're not a witch and you bought this book, you're basically screwed, RIP. The books were listed online for over $13,000. That's a lot of money to pay for a curse. But we don't know for sure if anyone actually bought them. So hey, go ahead and check them out if you got money to spend and if you aren't afraid of a little curse. Now, apparently this book is filled with a lot of dark materials, like how to perform exorcisms and how to summon demons. Whereas the other book contains stuff on alchemy, ceremonial perfumes, cures, etc. Hey, maybe there's a spell in there that will teach you how to break the book's curse. Who knows? If you want it, go buy it.
Coming in at number 5, the Voynich manuscript. The Voynich manuscript is arguably the most infamous on our list, to say the least. To begin, the book is written in an unknown writing system that many to this day are still attempting to decipher. It is unknown who wrote the book, but it is named after Wilfrid Voynich, a Polish book dealer who purchased it in 1912. The mystery of the book has excited people over the years, but we're still no closer to figuring out its contents or origins. Many have speculated that the book itself may be evil, and judging by the pictures included, may contain spells or incantations for summoning demons. But this is all speculation. There have been many people over the years who have claimed to have deciphered the text, from Robert S. Brumbaugh, who claimed that the manuscript was a forgery intended to fool Emperor Rudolph II into purchasing it, or Stephen Bax, who claimed that the manuscript was about nature, or even Nicholas Gibbs, who claimed it was a guide to women's health. We may never know what knowledge the book holds. Perhaps at the end of the day it's a hoax, but some speculate it may be something evil that we should never attempt to uncover.
In our 4th spot today, we have the Grand Grimoire. Otherwise known as the Gospel of Satan, this book has been named one of the most terrifying occult books in history. So it was apparently written in the 16th century by a man that was possessed by the devil. Yeah, you heard me correctly. The book is filled with instructions on how to summon demons or raise spirits from the dead. Reading this book and following any of the spells is said to be equivalent to selling your soul to the devil, which is why the original book is kept locked away somewhere in the Vatican's secret archives. They don't want anyone messing around with this book. But you can find versions of this book online and for sale, but it won't be the original cursed text. Either way, I'm not risking it. Coming in our third spot, we have the Book of Sacred Magic. Back in the 15th century, a mage named Abramelin decided to gift his son with a book filled with mythical curses. I doubt it was on his son's wish list, but hey, it's the thought that counts, right? Anyways, in the 1900s, the book was translated to English, and that's when people realized it was probably cursed. Why? Well, throughout the book, it talked about rituals on how to control your demons. Abra believed that every person had their own demon, not just a metaphorical one, but a literal one. This book taught you on how to control your demon. It also talked about how to perform other supernatural acts. In the end, it was believed that whoever owns a copy will be haunted by spirits, and bad luck will befall on them. In fact, a number of people have reported bad luck and hauntings after reading this book. So it seriously isn't worth it. Like, I'm not getting cursed. No, thank you. Coming in at number 2, we have the Book of Soyga, otherwise known as the Book That Kills. So I suggest you don't put it on your reading list. Basically, this book was created in the 16th century and is a Latin essay all about demonology. To this day, we still don't know who wrote it. But what we do know is that John Dee, who worked as an advisor for Elizabeth I, got the book in 1580. He spent the rest of his life trying to decipher the whole thing. He quickly realized that this book was no good. It talked about how to conjure demons and had a list of spells and stuff like that. Rumor has it that one section of the book he could not decipher at all. It was a page with tables filled with random Latin letters. But he was determined to decipher it. So him and his pal, who was an occultist and medium, apparently summoned the archangel Uriel. The angel apparently spoke through his friend and said that this book was made when Adam entered paradise. And also, apparently only Archangel Michael is the only one who can decipher the full book. The angel also warned them that the book was cursed, and anyone who deciphers the meaning of the coded tables would die 2.5 years later. Well, in the end, this book drove John to madness, and he died. After his death, the book was lost for the longest time, until 1994. That's when not one, but 2 copies were found. Crazy. But let me know in the comments below, if you had the opportunity, would you risk your life deciphering this book? I'm a little curious to see what it's about, but also I don't want to die, so maybe not. And in our number 1 spot today, we have the Devil's Bible. The Devil's Bible, otherwise known as the Codex Gigas, is this massive 310-page book said to harness evil and negative energy. It was discovered in 1648 when a Swedish army looted the city of Prague. During this time, they discovered this book, which is considered the largest medieval book in the world. Like I said, it was composed of 310 pages, but it is also 36 inches tall, 20 inches wide, 8.7 inches thick, and weighs 165 pounds. In fact, the book did contain 320 pages at one point, but the last 10 pages were cut out and removed. More on this later, stay tuned. So now, there's this really creepy legend surrounding this book. Legend goes that the book was written by a monk, but this monk broke his spiritual vows, and he was sentenced to be sealed behind a brick wall and left to die. The night before his death, he realized he would not be able to finish his book, so he summoned Lucifer and asked him to complete it for him. In return, he offered him his soul. So legend goes that this book was finished by the devil himself. Now, remember those pages that I said were removed? Well, apparently they were removed for a very important reason. Some people believe that those pages told people how to summon the devil. And obviously, if those pages fell into the wrong hands, it would be bad. To make this book even creepier, some pages are filled with drawings of the devil and other demonic entities. One page contains a 19-inch frightening drawing of Satan. And apparently, the book also contains a bunch of dark rituals and tests, like how to perform exorcisms. You know, in case you summon the devil or a demon, then you just want to take it all back again. Starting off this countdown, we have The Orphan Story. The Orphan Story is an adventure book about a Spanish teen who heads to the Spanish Empire in search for fortune. Doesn't sound like a scary story at all, right? Well, wrong. This book is apparently very cursed. So it was written in the early 1600s by a monk who broke his sacred vow. His name was Martin de Leon Cardenas. But here's the thing. The book didn't get published until 2018. Why? Because anyone who worked on the book or helped with its publication died under mysterious circumstances. Hence why people started to say that this book was cursed. For example, one editor died in a horrific accident. The other couple of editors died of strange illnesses. Now, you're probably wondering the same thing that I was. How come this seemingly innocent book got cursed? Well, that still remains a mystery. Some believe it was cursed after the author broke his vow. It was cursed as a punishment for his betrayal. Whereas others believe the book is cursed by the devil himself. But it seems as if the curse has been lifted now, so no need to worry. Maybe that's because the author is long gone. Once he died, the curse was lifted. Anyways, in 1965, a woman named Belinda Palacios discovered this book hidden in the archives of the Hispanic Society of America. Everyone warned her about the curse, but she didn't listen. She began working on this book for 2 years. Eventually, in 2018, it finally got published. And it's believed that the curse, again, like I said, is lifted. Either way, I'm not going to tempt my fate by reading it. But let me know in the comments below, are you brave enough to read this cursed book?
In at 4, the Sworn Book of Honorius. This is a medieval grimoire written by Honorius of Thebes. It is the oldest existing medieval grimoire and arguably the most influential. The text contains incantations and invocations to induce visions from heaven, hell, and purgatory. It is also widely believed that the person who is capable of deciphering all the text will gain the access to all the knowledge in the world. Not too shabby. Now, its history is hazy, but the book is supposedly the product of a group of magicians who condensed all their knowledge into one book. Many of its instructions include how to conjure and command a demon, how to work other magical operations, as well as the knowledge of what lies in heaven, among other things. It has been classified as a Solomonic grimoire due to its heavy angelic powers, like those found in the Key of Solomon. In at 3, the Satanic Bible. Published in 1969 and written by Anton LaVey, the Satanic Bible is a collection of essays, observations, and rituals, and is the central text of Satanism, and it's also considered to be the foundation of its philosophy. The Bible is divided into 4 sections: the Book of Satan, the Book of Lucifer, the Book of Belial, and the Book of Leviathan, the latter offering invocations for sex, compassion, and destruction, as well as invocation of Satan. Thankfully, the Satanic Bible is not considered to be a sacred scripture, like the Christian Bible is to Christians, but Satanists do regard it as authoritative text. The Satanic Bible has been condemned by many for being dangerous, particularly to adolescents. As problematic as this book is, it is still available in most places, although many schools have made an attempt to ban the text. Few have been successful though. Coming in at number 2, the Necromancer's Manual, also known as the Voynich Manual of Demonic Magic. This book is a 15th century grimoire manuscript. This text is seen as a guidebook to evoke demonic entities. The book includes a variety of spells and rituals divided into 3 themes: illusionist, psychological, and divinatory. Not only that, but it was believed that this book was the tool to control people, time, and emotions. Yeah, there is no real way of knowing that someone isn't out there right now using this book to control you. Think about it. And finally, coming in at number 1, the Grand Grimoire. To put it simply, this book teaches you how to summon and control demons. Yep. Is there anything worse than that? No. The answer's no. Also known as the Red Dragon, this book was written in the early 19th century, with its publication date ranging from 1521 to 1522 or even 1421. It was authored by Antonio del Rabina, I hope I said that right, who had supposedly gathered his information from the original writings of King Solomon. The book contains instructions to summon Lucifer for the purpose of forming a deal with the devil. The Grand Grimoire is divided into 2 books, the first half containing the instructions for summoning a demon, and the second half divided into 2 further parts, the Sanctum Regnum and Secrets of the Magic Art of Grand Grimoire. The former contains instructions for making a pact with the demon, allowing you to command it without the tools required in Book 1. The latter contains simple spells and rituals you can perform in order to complete the summoning and the controlling. All in all, it's not a book that should be placed in the hands of the morally ambiguous, let's just say that.